Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. I welcome you all for day two session. This is day two session on AWS Cloud with DevOps. Right, in the previous session, we have understood like the basic introduction part of DevOps. We have seen like how DevOps came into the picture and what are the DevOps tools that we will be learning in this particular course. At the same time, we have also seen some introduction about the AWS Cloud. And today, let's start with creating an account in the AWS Cloud, and let's get into the practicals. So first, now let us create. Okay, let us start with creating an account in the AWS. First, the today's agenda. Okay, let's see what is our today's agenda. So what we are going to do is today. First, we'll see like we are going to create. Okay, we'll see how to create an account in the AWS, and we'll understand like a service called. We are going to understand a service called ec2. ec2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud, and then we will try to create one machine, one Linux machine or one Windows machine in the AWS cloud. And then we will also understand what is the meaning of key pair. See, all these things comes under this service, EC2 service. Okay. So first, like we will try to concentrate on how to create an account. Okay. First, we'll learn how to create an account in the AWS cloud. Then we will keep on going with, we'll start with AWS. We will start with EC2 service. So this is the very first service that we will be covering. Okay, which is an EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, we'll go through the details of what is the actual meaning of this service and why we are learning. All those things we will go into the details later. But for now, this is our today's agenda. Let's move on. Let's see how to create an account in the AWS account. And first of all, like we have some steps. Okay, we have some steps for creating an account in the AWS. If you see here, the website that we need to visit is aws.amazon.com. Okay. So now we are trying to understand how to create an account in the AWS. First, we will visit AWS website. And once we go into the website, once we create an account, then we will see like how actually the console looks like and what are the services available. What is the region? Under region, we have some zones, all these things. Okay. By looking at the console, we will understand all those things. So we need to go to this website called aws.amazon.com. Hope most of you are aware of creating accounts in the AWS, but I'm just showing you like how to create an account in the AWS. So what I'm doing is like I'm going to a website called aws.amazon.com. In the Google, you can simply search like aws.amazon.com. And if you go to this particular website here, we can able to see an option called create an account. Okay. So here we are finding an option to create a new account. Just click on create a new account. And then it will ask for email address. Okay. Basically, we should have some Gmail address. Basically, you should have some Gmail account which is in the use, which is currently in use. Suppose if you are using any email address currently for your personal purpose, you can use the same email address also. Otherwise, if you are not interested to give your personal email, you can create a new Gmail account. You can create a new Gmail account and you can provide that address. Anything is fine. So for now, what I'm doing is I have my mail ID, but I don't have AWS account. I have a Gmail account. I'm just trying to give my Gmail account. This is my Gmail account. Okay. So what I'm trying to give is 1cdevops06 at the rate gmail.com. I am having, so just before I have created this mail ID. You can create one Gmail account. So provide that as a root user email address. Okay. I'm providing that as a root user email address. Account name, you can provide anything. Like I'm just providing my name. Otherwise, you can provide the user, you can provide the account name as like this, ec2devops06, something like this. Okay. It is up to you what to provide here. It is up to you. Okay, this is mine. This is the one which plays a key role here. You need to have a root user email address and you need to provide your AWS account name. Just click on verify email address. After providing both the details, click on verify email address. You will get some verification code to your mail. We'll get some verification code to your mail. I have already opened my mail here. Let me refresh it so that I'll see the code. Yes. So this is the verification code. I'm just 301972. I'm just giving this one. I'm just providing the verification code and it's showing like it's you. Your email address has been verified. So this is just for verifying your email address. So now it is asking to set up some password. You can set up any password based on the recommendations. I am setting up some password here, something like this. Okay, I'm setting up some password. You can set up your own password. After setting up the root user password, okay, so it is asking for the root user password. Please provide again the root user password for the confirmation. Just click on continue. That's it. So these are the steps that we are following for create an account. Let's see what is the next step. And in the next step, you see it is asking for the basic details. Okay, it is asking your contact information. So what is the purpose? Why we are creating the AWS account? All those details it is trying to get. So how do you plan to use AWS? Suppose if you are using for your business purpose, we'll select business purpose. And if you are using it for your personal purpose, select personal for your own projects. Provide your full name again. I'm giving my full name here. And country code, it is India. Provide your mobile number. Country is India again. So you can provide your address, okay? Whatever the address you feel like you can provide. And you can provide some address. So I'm just providing like Banshankari, Bangalore like this. So you can provide your address here. It is asking for the state. I'm just providing the state name as Karnataka. And postal code is something like 560, something I'm providing. Okay. This is not the correct one. Actually, I'm just providing this information to uh, address entered is invalid. Maybe it is asking for the correct address. Okay. You can go with the correct address only. Let me give the correct address. I'm just providing some other address to validate. So why? Because whenever we are giving some different address, it is not picking up. So I'm just providing a different address here. So this is how I'm proceeding with my account. Can you see here what is our next step? So far, you might have understood like what are the steps that we have provided. We have visited the website called aws.amazon.com. This is the website that we have visited. And there we have an option called creating a new AWS account. We just click on that button and it is asking for providing email ID and password, email address and password. And we have set up a password there. And it is asking whether you are creating an account, okay? Whether you are creating an account for your personal use or what is the purpose. So based on your information, you can provide. Finally, the last step, okay? This might be the last step or this might be the last before step. What they're asking is like it is asking to provide you the credit card or debit card details. You need to provide your credit card information or debit card information and make sure whatever the debit card or credit card you are using that must be enabled for your online transactions. And sometimes actually it must be enabled for, usually it should be enabled for international transactions. Okay. You can try with your card or whatever the card you have, whatever the debit card or whatever the credit card you have, you can try with the card you are having. Okay, if it is not working, make sure that you have enabled the international transactions or domestic transactions online. Okay, we have some options, right? We need to enable online transactions, something like the domestic, international. Please enable all those options and try with your card. then it will be approved. So only 2 rupees, according to the Indian currency, only 2 rupees will be deducted from your account. You need to provide all the basic data, all the details like credit card number, expiry date, year, TVV number, card holder name. All this information you have to provide. If it is asking you have a PAN number, you can keep no for now. Okay, it is up to you. Okay, see, you don't have any issues. Okay, you don't have any issues providing your PAN number. If you don't want to provide, you can keep no. This is how you need to provide all the billing information. Once after providing all the billing information, you can simply verify. And again, your mobile number will also be identified. That's it. Your account will be created. This is the last step, I think. This is the last step. And after this also, we have one more step. So nothing will be there. Okay. It is very simple process. I have shown you almost all the process except providing the details. Except providing the details, credit card details or debit card details. Make sure you are providing the correct details. Okay. Provide your credit card and debit card details. This is for the billing purpose and for the verification purpose also. Nothing will be charged from your side, from your end. So only 2 rupees will be deducted from your debit card or credit card, whatever you are using. And AWS offers a free tier. Okay. So you don't need to pay bill. So we are going to enable a free tier account. We are going to use the free tier account only for few days. We are going to use a free tier account for few days. Okay. So AWS is going to credit you some dollars into your account, into your free tier account. You can use that until your free tier ends. You don't need to pay anything. Okay. So once providing all the payment information, it will send you some verification code to your mobile number. Please enter the code to verify the identity. And then finally, it will ask to choose the support plan. So it will ask you 3 things. The basic plan, okay, developer plan, something like that. It will ask you 3 plans. You need to select the basic plan only. Okay. Why? Because the basic plan is eligible for free tier. Don't go for any other plans. Okay. Please go for the basic plan. It will ask you 3 options. You want to select basic plan or developer plan or enterprise. Okay, it will ask you like 3 plans. The very first plan is basic plan. Select the basic plan and go with the basic plan. Why? Because basic plan is free for free tier customers. So we are creating an account and we would like to use the account for free tier with free of cost without paying any bill, without charging for anything. Okay. So there are some restrictions. If you want to use AWS account for free tier, there are some restrictions. Like you cannot use all the services, and most of the services you can use for free tier. Right? Understand the statement I am giving. For the free tier, you may not use all the services, but you can use most of the services. For most of the services are eligible for free tier. So the basic plan is free for free tier. You can select the basic plan and you can create an account. See, creating an account is very, very simple process. You can go ahead and create an account very easily. And if you're facing any issues, while creating an account, please let me know. We'll try to come up. Right. This is the this is the process. Like this is the process we use for creating an account. Okay. Once the account is done, once account is created, let me sign in. How can we sign into the account? Say I'm already having an account. Okay. I'm already having an account, AWS account. So if you are already having an AWS account, how to sign in? So please again go to the account, like again go to aws.amazon.com. Okay. We need to go to the website called aws.amazon.com. So once you go to this website, aws.amazon.com, here we have an option called sign into the console. Just click on sign into the console. It is asking for information. Okay. Signing information. You can see here some other kind of user called IAM user. We'll discuss about what is IAM and what is who is IAM user. All these things we'll discuss later. But for now, you need to sign in. Okay, if you are the owner of the account, if you created an AWS account, if you are the owner of the account, okay, if you created a new AWS account, I recommend to sign in with the root user email address. Okay, just click on sign in using root user email address and provide the root user email address. Like I'm having one more email that where I'm having the AWS account. I'm just going with this email ID. I'm providing root user email address and I'm providing my password. I've set it up. I set this password during my AWS account creation. So I'm just providing the password. Once after providing the password, you can directly okay, once after providing the username and password, you can directly log in into the console. This is how the AWS console looks like. Can you see? This is how the AWS console looks like. At the very end, you will see your account ID. This is your root user account ID. So what is the use of this root user account ID? All these things you will understand. We will understand slowly. No worries. But this is our account name. You see here, this is the name of the, this is the name like where we have, this is the name we provided while creating an account. Okay. This is the username we provided while creating an account. And here, when you click on that profile, you will see the account ID. This is the 12-digit account ID. Will be helpful, will be useful for us in some areas, in some applications. Okay. I'll let you know where we are going to use this account ID and all. And now, apart from it, okay, we will also discuss about all these things, account organization, all these things. But before that, the main thing that we need to understand is we need to see the list of services. This is how the AWS console opens. Okay, if you want to see the list of services, just click on the services that are available. Just click on the services. And once you click on the services, you will find an option called all services. Just go with the all services. And now all the services will be displayed in alphabetical order. Can you see now? All the services are being displayed in the alphabetical order. We have services starting with A, and we have services starting with B. Services starting with B. All the services that we have in the AWS, they're listing out in some alphabetical order. Okay. So there are many services. There are many services. So we cannot go for each and every service. It's very difficult to go and learn each and every service in the cloud. It is very vast and we cannot do it. Okay. So anyhow, I told you like what are the services that we will be mainly focusing on in the introduction part, the demo yesterday itself. Okay. While discussing about the introduction part of AWS itself, we have gone through like what are the services that we were going to discuss in the AWS cloud. And in that, the very first service is EC2. The very first service that we will be going is EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. So if you're not finding out based on the alphabetical order, you see when I'm just clicking on services, all services, and it is displaying very big list of services and we are not able to find out where EC2 is. So that time you can go to the search bar and find out with the service name. So search with EC2. You will see a service called EC2 here. Just click on EC2 service and you will see the dashboard like this. You can able to see the dashboard like this. Okay. Once you click on the EC2, you'll see the dashboard like this. Before we move on to this particular service, we need to understand. Before we move on to this particular service, we need to understand like, one second. Yeah, we need to understand where we have different regions. This is the AWS console and you look at here, come to the console and you can see here, we have a drop down. Before profile, we have a drop down. And I'm just going to the drop down and I'm able to see the regions. You know, what is a region? I'll explain you what is a region, but try to see here. This is the option where we can see the regions. As I told you, AWS is having some more than 25 geographical regions. Let me open the paint and let me explain you what is actually a region and all. So we have AWS. Okay, AWS is decided, Amazon decided to invest on the infrastructure. AWS decided to spend or to invest on the infrastructure. So Amazon is not investing its infrastructure only in one region. AWS is having more than 25 geographical regions. It's having its infrastructure in Mumbai, Mumbai region. It's having its infrastructure in the Singapore region. It's having its infrastructure in US East 1. It's having its infrastructure in US West 1. Okay, there are many regions you can see and you can understand here. I'm just going here, you see. US East 1. Each and every region will be having a region code. US East 1 is the region code. US East 2 is the region code. US West 1 is the region code. West 2 is the region code. And you know Mumbai, in India also AWS, Amazon is Amazon has its infrastructure. What is the region code for Mumbai? AP-South-1. And Osaka is one region, which is AP-Northeast 3, Northeast 2, Southeast 1. Each and every region will be having a specific code. Each and every region is having a specific code. Okay. Suppose I want to create my infrastructure. Okay. Let's try to understand it this way. Let me put in this way. I want to create infrastructure in the AWS cloud. So when you are going to create infrastructure in the AWS cloud, the very first concern is in which region you are going to create. That's the main concern that you need to think of. Where, in which region? There are many regions. You want your infrastructure to be created in the Mumbai region, or otherwise you want your infrastructure to be created in Singapore, which is the nearest region for your customers. Suppose if your customers are mainly from India, okay, consider you are working on some project, and for your project, mainly the customers are mainly based out of India only. So if your customers are mainly from India region, we will be creating our infrastructure in Mumbai region only. Okay, if your customers are mainly from US, you will be creating our infrastructure. You will be creating our infrastructure in US regions like US West 1, US East 2. There are different regions in US also. Based on the location, based on your customers, we will try to find out the region which is very nearer to your customers, and we will create our infrastructure there. Okay, there are more than 25 geographical regions in AWS. There are more than 25 geographical regions in AWS. So we can create infrastructure in any of the regions. In any of the region, okay? That is based on the customers and all. Where your most of the business, where how the most of the business goes. If your customers are based out of, if your customers are mainly from US, we will be creating our infrastructure in the US. This is how actually we create our infrastructure. And as I told you, you see, we have many regions, and don't think that we have only regions. Inside the regions, we have some zones also. Consider we have a region called Mumbai. Okay? We have a region called Mumbai. And this is our AWS. So I assume that AWS is having its infrastructure in all the regions. AWS, Amazon, is having its infrastructure in many regions. It's having its infrastructure in Mumbai. It's having its infrastructure in Singapore. It's having infrastructure in US East. US East. Okay. Maybe we don't know the exact name of US East. We can see here. What is the US East? You want to see what is US East? North. It is N Virginia. US East N Virginia. US West 2, Ohio. US West 1, N California. So this is the region name. So if I would like to create my infra, okay, let's assume that I'm just giving the name as US East 1 or something like this. So again, inside the region, again, within the region, we'll be having some availability zones. You see, this is availability zone 1. This is availability zone 2. I'm talking about zones. Mumbai is the region. Mumbai is the region. Again, inside the region, we will be having availability zones. Inside the region, we'll be having availability zones. This is 1A, AP South 1A. AP South is the region code for Mumbai. Try to understand. AP South is the region code for Mumbai. AP-South is the region code for Mumbai. I'll show you what is the region code for Mumbai. Look at here. AP-South-1 is the region code for Mumbai. So if this is the region code for Mumbai, again, within the Mumbai, we'll be having availability zones. 1A will be the availability zone. 1B will be the another availability zone. 1C will be the another availability zone. What do you think about this one? The available zones and regions. If you understand the region means in one location, if they are spending, or if they are setting up their infrastructure. In Mumbai, they are setting up the infrastructure. And in the Mumbai itself, if they have 3 buildings, they are separating like, okay, they are giving some names to one building, or they are giving some names to those buildings, and they are dividing them as availability zones. Or otherwise, in the Mumbai itself, within 10 kilometers, consider there is a distance between from one building to another building. Like there is a 10 kilometers distance between one building to another building. So they are naming one building as 1A and they are giving the name to another building as 1B for another building as 1C, like this. And consider in Singapore, they have only they have two buildings where they are maintaining the infrastructure, and the two buildings are far away from each other, like some 20 kilometers or 50 kilometers far away each other. So what they will do is like they will name something like this, Singapore 1A or Singapore 1B. Like that, they will name the infrastructure. These are called availability zones. These are called availability zones. You got it, right? So these are the availability zones. Yeah. Try to find out. So within the AWS region, within the AWS, we are having some geographical regions, as I told you yesterday. Within the AWS, we have some geographical regions. These are the geographical regions: US East 1, East 2, West 1, West 2. All these are the geographical regions. First, we need to decide where we need to create our infrastructure. First, we need to decide where we need to create our, okay? We need to decide where, first we need to decide where we need to create our infrastructure. Once, once we have that clarity, where we are going to create our infrastructure, then we will be creating our resources inside that region. Hope you are very clear what I have explained to you so far. Within the geographical regions, we have availability zones also. Just assume that they have some 2 to 3 buildings which are far away from each other or which are closely each other. That's not an issue. But they want to give different names for their building. So they're separating their infrastructure like 1A, 1B. 1A is the availability zone, 1B is the availability zone, 1C is the availability zone. Okay. So whatever the infrastructure that is present in 1A, the same infrastructure will be present in 1B as well as 1C. It is not different. You see, whatever the infrastructure we have in one availability zone, the same the same kind of setup will be there in another zones also. Okay, another zones also. So you'll slowly understand what is availability zone. If you are not able to understand now, you'll slowly understand what is availability zone and all. Okay, let's move on and let's see like what is an EC2 service. So the very first service that we will be starting out is EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, the very first service that we will be starting is EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. The meaning of this service is Elastic Compute Cloud. So what does this service provides? So by using this service, okay, by using this service, you can launch the servers, you can create servers. If you have any question in understanding what is a server, server is nothing but our machine only. Our computer. Server is nothing but our computer. Server is nothing but our computer. So otherwise, we can also call it as machines. We will call it as EC2 machines. We'll call it as EC2 machine. Server, EC2, we can call it as server, EC2. Usually, as per the AWS terminology, we'll call it as an instance. Anything is same. So directly, if I say instance, maybe we won't understand like what is instance, all these things. Instance is nothing but a server or machine. Computer. Instance is nothing but a computer. Instance is nothing but a computer. Try to understand now. I would like to practice. Okay. Let me give some example to understand. My requirement is, I need some Linux operating system now. I want Linux operating system. My immediate requirement. I want to practice some Linux commands. I'm learning AWS Cloud. I'm not going into any of the project examples. I will discuss with you the project examples later. But try to understand the very simple example. And I'm learning AWS Cloud. I would like to practice some basic Linux commands to install the packages, to run some Linux commands. Okay, with the help of Linux commands only, we will install the packages. Packages are nothing but softwares. In Linux environment, if I would like to install any software, it usually be called as package. Okay, if I want to install any of the packages, I need Linux commands. So I want to practice Linux commands. How to practice Linux commands without a Linux server? Is it possible to practice Linux commands without a Linux server? My immediate requirement is Linux server. I want a Linux server. I have Windows machine. This is my Windows operator. This is my Windows machine. Whatever the machine I'm using now, In this machine, I'm having Windows operating system, and I would like to have a Linux server to practice some Linux commands and all. How to do that now? So the one option is within your machine, okay? Within my machine, I can go ahead and I can install a VMware software. And within the VMware software, I can set up my Linux operating system. That is one way. You can maintain dual operating system within your laptop or within your computer. That is one way. So usually when I do that, my system performance is going down. My system performance is very slow when I use multiple operating systems. When I'm installing multiple operating systems, so usually the performance of my machine is getting lower. Okay, the performance of my machine is getting down. So that time what I'm doing is I would like to create, if we have another option, we can create a Linux server in the AWS cloud. This is not a correct example to understand, but for me, if I'm learning the AWS cloud, I want to practice some Linux commands. Definitely, you don't need to install Linux operating system in your machine. Why? Because your machine performance may get slowed down. That's the reason why what I'm doing is I'm going to the AWS cloud and I'm creating an instance. Let me show you how we are going to create an instance in the AWS cloud. And this is the service where we need to go for. If I want to create any servers, meaning as per the AWS terminology, you will be calling that as instance. Instance is nothing but computer server. You don't need to set up your servers in your own office premises. And you can see today, now, everything is being migrated to the cloud. We will not see any of the servers in the office premises, particularly for the infrastructure maintenance. In the future, we will not see any kind of servers in the office premises. Each and everything will be migrating to the cloud. I'm not saying that they are going to migrate each and everything to the AWS cloud, but the future is cloud only. Okay, they'll be migrating. Why? Because maintaining the servers at the office premises, okay, maintenance, everything. See, maintaining the server is not an easy task. We need a separate team for maintaining the servers. So that's the reason why they are calculating all these things. Usually companies will calculate all these things and they will be migrating them to the cloud. So if I want any server, I don't want that server to be maintained at my office premises. I want everything to be created in the cloud. If you want to create any Windows server or Linux server in the AWS cloud, what is the service that is dealing with those things? EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Let me show you. I'm going here. Okay. So as I told you, if you are not able to find out the service, you just go to the service called EC2 in the dashboard. Just search with the EC2 in the search bar. Okay, you will see the dashboard like this is the dashboard of the EC2 service. This is how the dashboard looks like for EC2 service. You can see here. We have instances running, dedicated hosts, key pairs, auto-scaling groups. There are many things which we are going to discuss further. Let me start with the instances. Okay, let me just click on instances running. Let me just click on the instances running. So now what we are going to look at now? We are going to look at now how to launch an instance, how to create one server, how to launch an instance. See, I'm using the terminology of the AWS cloud. Instance is nothing but server. Launching an instance is nothing but setting up the server or creating the server. We should not use the other terminologies. If we are dealing with the AWS cloud, we should be knowing the terminologies that we should use in the AWS. So usually here I told you, right? We'll be calling the servers as instances and we'll be calling them as launching a server. I am going to launch a server. I'm going to launch a new server. We will see either it is a Windows server or Linux server that we can decide. If I want to launch a server, we need to go for instances running. You can see the status of the current status is like we don't have any instances running. Instances running is 0. What do you mean by instances running? Servers, your machines, computers. Computers running is 0. No server is running for now. For now, we don't have any instances running. Instances running is 0. I'm just clicking on the instances running. I'm not seeing any instances. 0. We don't have any instances. I would like to create a new instance. This is the option we will go for. Click on launch instance. And here we need to select few things for launching an instance. See, if you are launching an instance, Just assume the scenario. Okay, just assume the scenario like if we are going to the market and if you are purchasing some server, if you are going to purchase some computer or server, usually what we will think, we will be thinking about the processor, what kind of processor it is. We'll say the configuration, right? We'll talk about the configuration. We need i5 processor or i7 processor. We need some 8 GB RAM or 16 GB RAM. We need some portion of hard disk like 500 GB or some hard disk we require. So today we are talking about SSD, hard disk, all those things. HDD, we have various kinds of hard disks are there. Of course, we know some of the important configurations that we require. The main thing is processor. Main thing is random access memory, RAM, processor, storage. All these things are the important components. Along with those components, operating system is also plays a very important role, right? What kind of operating system you require for your usage? Similarly, in the AWS also, while launching the instance, you need to mention, okay, you need to have a clear and you need to have a clear understanding on what OS you require, what is the process, how many processors. Okay, in AWS terminology, actually, you should have some basic idea like how many processors you require, how many processors, and what is the RAM capacity you need, what is the storage you need. All these things you should have. These are the basic things. Okay, what kind of operating system you need? Meaning, you need a Windows operating system or Linux operating system. What kind of operating system you require? This is one thing. And how many processors you need? So usually in AWS, the processors we will get in the form of like one CPU. We will be having instances. Okay, we can launch instances with one CPU. Okay, two CPUs, four CPUs. There are various categories of instances. There are various categories of instances. One CPU machines will be there, two CPUs machines will be there, four CPU machines will be there. Usually, CPU will be measured in terms of CPU will be measured in terms of millicores. One CPU is equal to 1000 millicores. So usually, for if a process is running in our okay, if a process is running, consider if you are running some application in your machine. Consider if you are running some application in your machine. Just assume that if that process or application will take some 100 millicores, if that application or the process will take some 100 millicores, how many similar kind of applications you can run? If one process is taking some 100 millicores of CPU, if one process can utilize 100 millicores of CPU, one process or one application, just try to understand. I'm giving an example to just understand how actually the CPU will be calculated. One process or one application is going to consume some 100 millicores of CPU. MI stands for millicores, 100 millicores. Then how many applications you can run in a 1000 millicore CPU, 1000 millicore CPU configuration? Are you getting my point?
10.
10. We can run some 10 processes or 10 applications, right? Similar kind of applications we can run, like some 10 process or 10 applications we can run. That's how usually, if your requirement is like if you are going to run some 20 applications or 30 applications, maybe you are not, you can maybe one CPU configuration will not be sufficient at all for your requirement. That time we will go for increasing the number of CPUs. Can you tell me now what is two CPUs? How can we measure the two CPU? Two CPU is nothing but what? 2000 millicores. Three CPU means 3000 millicores. See, this is based on your requirement. If your requirement is, if you are going to run some several applications in that computer, in that machine, okay, you need to calculate. You need to calculate how many applications are we going to run. Maybe if I'm going to run some 10 applications, each application will be consuming some 100 millicores. If one application consumes 100 millicores, 10 applications will obviously consume 1000 millicores. If you are going to run some 20 applications, it's better to go with two CPUs machine. If you are going to have more applications than that, better you go with three CPUs. If you choose one CPU, the billing is very less. If you choose two CPUs machine, the billing will be little high. And if you choose four CPUs, the billing will be more high. We have other categories also, like you will find some 8 CPUs machines also, 32 CPUs. There are many other categories I'll show you. Just I'm giving you some example, like this is how in the AWS we will choose the servers and the configuration. First of all, we need to have some clarity on what kind of OS we are going to use. how many processors we require, what is the storage, what is the random access memory we require. So RAM is different, storage is different. Processor and RAM is required for processing any application. The main thing is like processor and random access memory, both are required. If you are getting only 1 GB RAM, okay, and you see for running one application, for running one process or one application, if it is taking 100 millicores of CPU and 1 GB RAM, assume that for running one process or one application, it will consume that 100 millicores of CPU and 1 GB RAM. Can you tell me now how many applications can you able to run in one CPU machine, in one CPU, 1 GB?
Only one.
Only one. Why? Because both should be there. Both are mandatory. CPU and random access memory, both should be mandatory for running one application. If either one is not there, if you have a sufficient CPU, consider you have a sufficient CPU and you don't have enough RAM, we cannot process. It cannot process any application. It could not run application. Hope you got it. Like based on these two things, we will be running the application, CPU as well as random access memory. Storage is different. Storage is for the permanent store. This is for permanently storing some information. If you have some data and you need to store some data, right? If you want to store some data and all, this is for the storage. This is an additional thing. Storage is different. It is similar to our hard disk. You know, right? This is similar to our hard disk where we use in our computers. This is mainly for the storage. You know about pen drive. Pen drive is an external storage. This is an internal hard disk. Usually in our laptops or computers, we'll be having internal hard disks. This is for the storage. But these two things are mainly required for running any of the applications. Okay, let's keep on moving to this one. Okay, if I'm going to launch an instance, you know, right, where I'm going to launch an instance, you need to go to the service called ec2. First, you need to go to the service called ec2. You'll see the dashboard of ec2 like this. This is the ec2 dashboard. If you want to create a server, if you want to launch a new server, then click on instances running and go for launch instances. You need to give some server name. I'm going to create some Linux server. I'm just giving the name of the Linux server as. I'm going to give the name of the server as Linux server. You can provide any name. That doesn't matter. Providing some name to the server. This is the very first thing that we do. And this is also optional. Even if you won't provide any name, also won't happen. Like you can provide now, or otherwise you can provide the name even after launching the instance also. It doesn't matter, okay? Even if you provide the name or not, doesn't matter. You can provide the name even after creating the server also. This is just for our purpose to understand like what kind of server it is. I'm slowly going down. You see the very first option that I'm able to see is Amazon machine image. Usually it is called as AMI in the AWS terminology, AMI, Amazon machine image. This is nothing but a OS image. See, if you are launching a server in the AWS, the very first thing that you need to choose is what kind of operating system you require. There are many operating system images you see. We have Amazon Linux image, we have Mac OS image, we have Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat, SUSE Linux. There are many operating systems you see, and most of them are the Linux flavors only. You see Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Red Hat, SUSE Linux. These are the Linux flavors. If you want to have a basic understanding on what is this Linux flavor, you know about Windows operating system, right? In Windows also, we have some basic flavor. We have some different flavors. Like earlier, we were using Windows XP. After that, we came to Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11. We have different versions in Windows, right? In the same way, we have different versions in Linux also. We have Amazon Linux, we have Ubuntu, we have Red Hat Linux, Mac OS, SUSE Linux. These are the various versions. These are the different flavors in the Linux operating system. Hope you got it. So if you want to create a Linux server, you can choose any of the operating system image. I'm just going with Amazon Linux for now. I'm choosing the Amazon Linux image. You see here what I'm doing? I'm just providing the name. I'm going to the next step. I'm just clicking on the Amazon Linux operating system. Slowly I'm coming down. Okay. After selecting Amazon Linux, you see better if we are using a free trial account, make sure that it is clearly showing if the image is eligible for free trial or not. Otherwise, what happens is you cannot use your account for longer period. Your free tier will ends up very soon. Okay, make sure if you are choosing something, consider I'm just selecting Windows operating system. When I'm selecting, obviously it will show you whether this one is eligible for free tier or not. Yes, Windows, even if I select Windows image also, it is clearly showing that free tier is eligible for this. And if I select Mac OS, you see, when I'm selecting Mac OS, it is not showing like free tier is eligible. So if I use this one, usually what happens is, so maybe like if this is not eligible for free tier, what happens is my free tier will ends up very soon. My free tier will ends up very soon. Otherwise, you cannot use this kind of images with your free tier account. Two things. Whatever the services that are not eligible for free tier, you may not use them with your free tier account. So always it is recommended to use the things which is eligible for free tier. If you are choosing something, make sure whether it is displaying this free tier eligibility tag or not. If it is displaying with free tier eligible, please go ahead and use it. Okay, that is the only thing. So if you are using a paid account, if your account is a paid account, you can use anything. Based on that, based on your usage, you will get a bill. Okay. Every month, the bill will be generated. Based on your usage only, bill will be generated and you have to pay the bill. So for now, I'm just selecting the Amazon Linux operating system image coming down. And here I need to choose the next step as instance type. So under this instance type, I will choose both memory and CPU. I told you, right? Two things are very important for running any of the application or for running any of the process. Two things are very important. One is CPU and the other one is random access memory. Here I'm talking about memory. It is nothing but RAM only. Okay. So if we are talking about memory, it is nothing but RAM only. So I'm selecting a category of I'm selecting the instance type as T2.micro. If I'm selecting here the drop down, I will be getting many of the categories. You say I have a category called T2.nano and it is having one CPU and 0.5 GB memory. T2.micro, one CPU and 1 GB RAM. T2.small, one CPU and 2 GB RAM. T2.medium, two CPUs and 4 GB RAM. T2.large, two CPUs and 8 GB RAM. Like that, we have various categories. If it is X large, 4 CPUs you will be getting and 16 GB RAM. So based on the instance you are selecting, your billing rates will also be high. If you keep on going for the high configuration, your billing rate will also be obviously high. And if you want to see the billing rates and all, I will show you. We have an Amazon pricing calculator, AWS pricing calculator. There we will go and we will find out how much price we will be charged once after using this service for these many days. If you are going to use the server for 1 year, how much you will be charged? Everything we can calculate in the pricing calculator that we will discuss later. But for now, I'm going with the T2.micro. You hope you understood why I'm going with T2.micro. It is showing like free tier eligible. It is eligible for free tier. When I am not selecting anything. By default, it is clearly showing. When I'm selecting the OS image, it is clearly showing that this instance type is eligible for a free tier. Please go with the free tier. And before you go with that, make sure you can understand like how many number of CPUs and how many number of what is the size of the memory you are getting. You will be getting 1 GB RAM and 1 CPU. Then the next step, okay, this is the instance type. In the instance type itself, you will be getting both CPU as well as memory. And if you want high configuration, you need to choose the other things. If you want high configuration, you need to choose the high category things like T2.medium, T2.large. You can go for it if it is a paid account, okay? So T2.micro, I'm going with key pair. I'm just going with the key pairs. I'll try to explain you what is this key pair. So key pair is mainly for connecting to the instance. You see, we are launching a server in the AWS cloud. Let me explain you what is the purpose of the key pair, why we are going to create a key pair and all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch, this is an AWS cloud, and I'm going to launch a server inside the AWS cloud. Okay, consider I'm going to launch a server called anything is like it's a Linux server. Okay, I'm going to launch a Linux server in the AWS. Okay, this is AWS. I'm going to launch a server in the AWS. So I would like to access it from my laptop. Okay, I would like to I'm going to access it from my, consider this is my laptop, and I'm going to access it from my personal laptop or from my personal computer. From here, I'm in a different location. I'm in the different region, and my server is created. I have launched a server in the AWS, which is in the Mumbai region. In which region I'm creating? Consider I'm creating in Mumbai region. We are going to launch a server in the Mumbai region. This is a Linux server. This is a Linux server and we are going to launch this in the Mumbai region. If this is the server, if you want to connect, how can we connect to this server from your local machine? Yes, if I want to connect to the server from my local machine, definitely I need a key pair. Okay, I need a key pair. It's nothing but a password. Usually we know, right? It will ask for the password if you are creating any account or if you are doing something. Okay, so definitely for security purpose, you should have some key. If you have the key pair, then only you will be able to connect to the server. Otherwise, anyone can connect to the server. You have created a server. If there is no concept of key pair, anyone can go ahead and anyone can connect to the server where it doesn't have any kind of security policy. So key pair is nothing but key pair is nothing but it is a security policy where we will be downloading a key pair, we'll be generating a key pair while launching the instance itself. So a unique key pair will be downloaded and you can use that key pair for launch for connecting to the instance. Okay. So this is the purpose. So if you are launching a server in any of the regions, if you want to connect to the server from your local machine, definitely the key pair is required for security purpose. Otherwise, anyone can log in, anyone can connect to your server. We don't want any others to come and log in to come and see, to come and connect to our servers, right? Security is required. So for providing the security, you will be generating a key pair. You'll be generating a key pair. You see how to download, how to create a key pair. We have an option here to create a new key pair. Just click on create new key pair and you can provide some name to the key pair. So what I'm giving is like I'm giving a key pair name as AWS key pair. You can provide any name. Okay, you can provide some name. It is not mandatory to provide KP. Even you can give like AWS. I'm just providing AWS KP as a meaningful name. Okay. And here we have two algorithms. These are the two algorithms. RSA is one algorithm. ED25519, it is also one algorithm. So this is mainly for encryption. Okay, this is mainly for the encryption and decryption. You know, right? Maybe if you have gone through the security algorithms, usually there is a concept of encryption and decryption for the security purpose. So these are the encryption and encryption algorithms like RSA, ED25519. These are the encryption algorithms. We don't need to go much into the details of these things. So everything is being taken care by the AWS only. You don't need to worry about much about all these things, but you need to provide the key pair name and you need to select the file format you require. You can download the file in the private key file. You can download the key. You can download the key pair either in the PEM format or PPK format. It is up to you. So for now, we are downloading this in the form of PEM. Okay. For now, I am just downloading this in the form of PEM. PEM stands for Privacy Enhanced Mail. This is one format where we can keep our security keys. And PPK is PPK stands for Putty Private Key. PPK stands for Putty Private Key. So if you are trying to log into the server with the help of Putty, that time this private key will be useful. And if you are trying to connect to the server by using other terminals like Git Bash, this PEM will be useful. I will explain you very clearly how we are going to connect to the servers, but try to understand while generating the key pair, we have two versions. One is PEM as well as one more is PPK. I'm just trying to select PEM and I'm downloading the key pair. That's it. So no worry about the algorithms that you are using. By default, RSA algorithm will be there. You select the RSA one and you go with the RSA one and select PEM and click on download the key pair. The key pair is downloaded. This key pair is downloaded to my local machine. Can you see? The key pair is downloaded to my local machine. So while connecting to the instance, we will be connecting to the instance with the help of this key pair. Okay. While connecting to the instance, we will be connecting to the instance with the help of this key pair. That's okay. I'm coming down. So we will be discussing about the network settings once we are aware of the networking part. So we should know how to create a VPC. We should know how to create a subnet, and within the subnet, how to create all those things. There are many network components we need to create. Okay, VPCs, subnets, and in the subnet also we have private subnet, private sub. There are many kind of things we need to understand under the networking part. Once after understanding the networking part, we will go for the network settings. But for now, I'm leaving for default network settings. I'm not discussing with you on the network settings. We will be leaving this for default. Slowly coming down, I'm not selecting any other things except the storage. By default, it is asking, by default, it is like 8 GB storage. 8 GB storage. I told you, right? What is the storage and all? Storage volumes. Here, in the AWS terminology, these will be called as storage volumes. Storage volumes, okay? You can increase pre-tier eligible customers can get up to 30 GB of EBS. EBS stands for Elastic Block Storage. I told you about hard disks and all for the storage part. In the AWS, we have a service called EVS. EVS stands for Elastic Block Storage. So this is mainly for providing the volume for additional storage. Okay, if you want any additional storage, or this is the storage which will come along with the machine. So this is the new server I'm launching. While launching the new server, anyhow, we will get some storage. Okay. So by default, I'll get some 8 GB. You can extend up to 30 GB also. That's not a problem. I'm just going here and launching an instance. You can see the summary. The number of instances you are going to launch one. If you want 5 instances, you can launch 5 instances at a time. For now, I am launching only one instance. I have selected the Amazon machine image as Amazon Linux. I want Amazon Linux operating system. That's why I have selected Amazon Linux machine image. And my server category is T2.micro. I told you T2.micro will get only one CPU and 1 GB RAM. If you want to increase your capacity, you can go for other categories like T2.medium or T2.x large. Some other options are there. And these are the network settings. Okay, these are the network settings. I am not going with any network settings for now. Storage volumes, I have selected one storage volume, which is 8 GB. By default, the option will be there. You need to, if you want to increase, you can increase it to 10 GB or something like that. And I'm just launching an instance. That's it. These are the basic options. These are the basic options that we require for launching a server. These are the basic options that we require for launching a server. So after some time, you see the instance is in the pending state. After some time, usually the instance will come into the up and running state. After some time, after it will take some few seconds of time. After few seconds, the instance will come into the up and running state. Once it comes into the up and running state, we can connect to the server. Any questions in today's session? Let's discuss. Any questions?
Hello, MC.
Yeah, Raghavendra, please.
Yeah, this is not from the course, like the subject side. Like, I have a personal question. Like, if you cannot join this batch, like, when will be the next batch? In how many days you will be starting the next batch?
So every month, usually every month the batch will be started.
Every month,
Suppose
okay.
now today we are yesterday only I have started this new
Yeah,
batch, and
yeah,
maybe it will take where I think so we cannot say that. So if the usually candidates will approach the institute and they based on the number of candidates approaching, like we will try to start a new batch.
okay.
Please be in contact, Raghavendra. I will let you know when the new batch will get
Okay.
started. Okay?
Actually, I'm on the bench currently, but
Okay.
I'm going to get a project in the next week most probably. But I don't know what kind of shifts they have and everything until I speak to the manager.
Got it. Okay.
That's
Okay. We will let you know when the next batch starts.
okay.
Okay. Any other questions related to this, or any other general questions?
Hello, Vamsi.
Yes, please.
Uh, will timings be same or will it differ? Like
So
as of
your
now,
concern is on the timings.
yes, yes.
So timings is like these timings are fixed. Like we thought, like we are going to run this batch from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Most
Okay.
probably, like this time is suitable for everyone. For
Okay.
most of everyone, like everyone who is joining this course, most of the people are depending on the recordings also. Like most
Okay.
of the people are not joining the classes because of the timings only. They are completely based on the recordings.
Yeah, in my case, I'm also doing morning shift.
Okay.
It starts from 5 a.m.
Okay.
So sometimes I may get issues to join.
Yeah, Dilip, like if you have, see, if you are not able to attend the class and if you are interested
Okay.
to join, definitely we will send you the recording after 1 hour once the class is done. And even if you
Oh,
want to listen the live classes, okay, if you want to listen the live classes, you can join the batch for now. You can get the recordings, and whenever the
okay.
next batch starts, right, we will allow you to listen the classes, live classes at that time also. Okay, it is
Oh,
up to
okay.
you whether to join the next batch or you can continue with this batch or however you want. You can decide yourself.
Okay. Thanks.
And Mamsi, one thing, like, you will be taking the next batch also, like, any other person will be taking that.
I will be the resource. I will be the only resource for this institute. Okay.
Okay.
I will be the teach. I will be teaching on
Okay then.
for AWS DevOps as well as Azure I'll be teaching Azure DevOps also, Google
Okay.
Cloud Platform. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Basically, I am the only resource for this institute. No others will work
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
And one more question, Mansi, sorry.
Yes, please.
And will there be any certification provided after course completion?
See, for AWS, even though we provide from our institute side, like this Kingdom Trainings Institute will provide you the certificate, but usually you should do the AWS certification. Okay, I can guide you how to do the AWS certification. So that is
Okay.
up to that is up usually we need to do the external certifications, right? We need to apply for the exam by paying some 15,000, 20,000,
Yes, yes, yes.
and we need to apply for we need to appear for the exam. Once that is clear, then only you will get AWS certification, and that is valid.
Okay.
So the certification that is providing by the institutes may not be valid, right? Even if we provide also, that is not at all valid.
Okay.
If you want, we can provide, but that is not at all valid. You need extra certification. You need to apply for the exam and you need to write from there. You need to get the certificate from AWS, Amazon side itself.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, if you don't have any questions, so today we have understood like how to create an account in the AWS cloud and how to launch a Linux server in the AWS cloud. And we can connect to this server very easily. There are different ways of connecting to the server. We will be teaching you, I'll be teaching you like how can we connect to the server in the next session. Okay, how can we connect to the server? You can see the status of the server. We have launched a server and I am able to see the server status as running. The category I have chosen is ec2.micro. All these things, what are status checks, everything we will be discussing in the next sessions. Okay. In the next class, we will see how can we connect to the server and we will discuss about each and everything like what is status check. Okay. And how actually, how can we manage the instances we launch in the AWS. There are many additional things that we need to know about this EC2 service. Okay. We'll be discussing rest of them in the next session. Thank you all. If you don't have any questions.
Thanks, Vamsi.
Thank
Yes, Vamshi.